Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show this week. As always, happy Monday. I'm your host, David Burrows, as always. Did you have a good weekend? I did. Sorry, I'm just fixing my volume there. Did you have a good weekend? What did you do? Anything exciting happening? While this is a local community show, it's community all over the world, I'm happy to say, because we are broadcast simultaneously in many different hubs around the world. One of them being the live video hub that I like to mention, and several others as well. We are live not only here in Sarnia Lambton, but all throughout Canada, throughout the United States. We are simulcast in Australia. We're broadcasting right now in the United Kingdom, Ireland, and I think even South Africa is taking care of us being broadcast out there. So many different countries around the world watching us. Why is that important that we broadcast a local community show around the world? Well, I think it's because it helps us connect other communities to each other around the world, and we can learn from each of our communities, whether that be politically, whether that be just community oriented, entertainment wise, whatever that is. It helps us connect our communities, and I'm thankful to say through the power of live streaming and through the power of BeLive.tv, which is the platform that I use here to broadcast. Some of my members, or my guests, I should say, already getting ready to join. Coming up at the beginning of the show, Shirley Roebuck is going to be joining us here coming up shortly. She's from the Sarnia Lambton Health Coalition. We're also going to have Anita Minielly here from Sarnia Lambton Rebound. And you've also probably heard of the recent student protests and walkout that happened across the province. We're going to have a couple of the organizers here from that event joining us here as well. But first, we've got some local things here in Sarnia Lambton to talk about. And I want to come and talk to you first about Sarnia Sings. You've heard me talk about this every week if you've been watching the show. If you don't watch the show, you must have heard about it on Facebook somewhere. Only 43 tickets are left for this amazing event coming to the Imperial Theatre on Thursday, May the 2nd. An initiative that was created by my friend Adam Dumond, who decided that it was important to create some more awareness about suicide prevention and mental health awareness. I'm sure we would all agree that both of those subjects have somehow touched all of us, whether directly or indirectly. The first year, this is the third year for this event, the first year it all but sold out short of 10 tickets. Last year it sold out, and now only 43 tickets left and available, $25 a piece, to come on down and see some amazing local singers who are going to go up on stage and perform with a live band. And the band members are real rock stars. We're talking members of Big Wreck, the Killer Dwarves, if you remember them, Moist, and many others, and some local talent performing in there with the band. Actually, Dave Thomas, who performed last year with the band, is coming back on the piano and keyboards to support them. And Michael Van Hevel is going to be there singing. Max Major from K106.3 is going to be on the stage. Marilyn Gladue, our MP, yes, she has a beautiful voice. She's going to be singing on the stage with the rock band as well. About 18 performers in all. We haven't announced everybody just yet. Let me reorganize myself. I'm falling up. I've got wires falling out of me here. That's not good. Live television. The show must go on. So yeah, you want to get your tickets for that. It's only $25. You can go to imperialtheatre.net to get one of the only, somebody go buy all 43 tickets. There's only 43 tickets left. Let's sell this thing out, all right? Sarnia Sings, May 2nd, coming to the Imperial Theatre. All right, well, some more exciting things coming to Sarnia. I mention it every week because I don't want you to miss it. The tall ships are coming to Sarnia once again. It happened several years ago. Glad to have them back, and local Carpenters Union and Imperial Sarnia site, major supporters and sponsors of this event, as are other many community partners. This is going to happen August 9th through the 11th here in Sarnia Lambton, and tickets, thousands, like 3,000 to 4,000. I know that's a broad spectrum, but I don't have the exact number, but at least 3,000 tickets already being sold for this. We have talked with Rob Hardwood, who is the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Sarnia, who takes the lead on this, partnering with Blue Water Border Fest. It's another year coming in for that, and Artscape moving their event a week earlier than normal in order for everybody to collaborate and come together and participate in the Tall Ships of Sarnia celebration. And you can get your tickets. You don't want to wait for this. This is the Blue Nose, too, is coming. And I think about 8 different tall ships. I'm happy to say I'm going to be around everywhere. They're going to keep me busy. I'll be live on location all over the place for Artscape, Blue Water Border Fest, the tall ships, and we'll be bringing a lot of that to you, all of that to you live. And if you want to find out more information, of course, they're on Facebook. You can go to Sarnia Lambton Tall Ships on Facebook, and you can also go to sarniatallships.com to get more information about this exciting event. What a great way to showcase Sarnia Lambton, what it has to offer. Yeah, nothing to do in Sarnia, right? Okay. Go to sarniatallships.com to find out more about that. Who likes free? I like free, especially when it's a movie, because movies aren't cheap to go to, right? The Sarnia Public Library putting on regular movies, and this one coming up tonight, actually. Free movie, A Wrinkle in Time. If you haven't heard of that, it's about the disappearance of the young lady's scientist father and 3 peculiar beings. Meg and her brother get sent to go and, out to outer space to find them. I think that's the gist of it anyway. But A Wrinkle in Time at the Sarnia Public Library Theater tonight starts at 6:30. So take the kids down and enjoy that. Missy Burgess and John Pilot, who are well-known local musicians here in Sarnia Lambton, they're also going to be playing at the Lawrence House this evening. Open stage with Missy Burgess and John Pilot, and they welcome singers, musicians, poets, and writers. Kind of an open mic for everybody. And of course, they want you, the attentive audience, to come down and see them. That, again, is also tonight at the Lawrence House, and that starts at 7 o'clock. All right. Well, if you're in business, you should be checking out all the different ways to network. And if you've never been to the Business After Five, say that 5 times fast. Libro is hosting the next Business After 5 coming up Wednesday, April the 17th, and it's going to be held at Libro here in Sarnia. And you can go to slchamber.ca to get more information. Spring is upon us. It's time to grow your business and get out and meet all the different people that are involved here in our community and network, and find out what the Sarnia Lambton Chamber has to offer you as well. It has something for everybody, whether it's one person size business to thousands of size business. Is that how you say that? Thousands of size business? Big and small, Sarnia Lambton Chamber wants to invite you to come out and find out more. And of course, Liberal Credit Union hosting this one as well, coming up this Wednesday. Rodney James and the Riot happening this Friday down at Collide as part of Revelry, and Rodney James and the Riot having their album release party. I didn't know they called it an album anymore, because album release party, which is we have CDs and MP3s and all that stuff, but they're having an album release party. It's very, very cool. Chris Norton, who is a very funny man as well, locally known for many different reasons, very entertaining. He was actually in Sarnia Sings last year. He's the MC for the entire night for Rodney James and the Riot album release party, and you can go down and celebrate. Tickets are $10 in advance, and they're $15 at the door. And let me see, we're going to tell you where you can get all this. Peace Pilot is also going to be joining as a special guest. Rodney James and the Riot will go on at 9 o'clock. The tickets are available at the Woods Hair Salon, Ruckle Hair Concepts, and also Norton Hair Styling. So check out Rodney James and the Riot. Amazing group. They were at Blue Water Border Fest last year. They've been doing very, very well. And this is a great opportunity to get out and see them again this Friday down at Collide. Well, you probably know that Easter is upon us. When you say Easter, do you get those songs going in your head? Here Comes Peter Cottontail, Hopping Down the Bunny Trail, and Easter Bonnets and all those things. Do you still sing those songs? Well, get out and celebrate. Get out and celebrate Easter in Petrolia. The Petrolia Lions are having their 31st annual Easter egg hunt, and a lot of other different activities happening as well. And if you are on Facebook, which you are if you're watching the show, go to the Petrolia Lions group and find out more about all the details about what's happening. And donation of canned food is also being accepted for the Petrolia Food Bank. They really appreciate that. And again, Easter egg hunt and some other fun Easter things happening courtesy of the Petrolia Lions. And if that wasn't enough, of course, City of Sarnia has to have their Easter in the park. Easter in the Park, of course, happening down at Canatera Park. There's no admission. It's for children ages 0 to 8 years old, and registration starts at 11:15 in the morning. 11:15 till 12:15, and all the hunts, the Easter egg hunts, will begin at 12:30. I wonder if I can sneak in. You know what? I'm a big kid, but don't you kind of like wanting to still go in? Okay, they probably wouldn't. I'd probably kick you out of the park. But I think you could go along, take the kids, and maybe help the kids find them. Maybe that's how you get away with it. I thought we should have Easter egg hunt for big kids. What do you think? Okay. Easter egg hunt happening this Saturday, of course, at Canatera in the Park. All right. I was out talking to my friend Jen Daly the other day. Her and her husband, of course, owners of the Twisted Arm here in Sarnia. And she is very, very excited about this group, Zed, coming to the Twisted Arm this Saturday, April the 20th. They go on at 10 o'clock. Zed is a Led Zeppelin tribute band. I have seen Zed twice before. They were here, I think, last summer on the famous Duke d'Orleans performing. If you love Led Zeppelin, you go see this band Zed perform. Close your eyes. You will think it is Led Zeppelin up there. Here's the best part. Only a donation to a local charity. When you come in the door to Twisted Arm, they're accepting donations. I just talked to Jen a few minutes ago, and she said they're going to give the donations to the Huron House Boys Home. So all donations when you come through the door to the Twisted Arm this Saturday night to see Zed, the Led Zeppelin tribute, will go to the Huron House Boys Home. In fact, every time they have a band there on Saturday nights at Twisted Arm, they do not charge a cover charge. They simply accept donations, and they pick a different charity every time they have a band there. What a great idea, and a great way that Twisted Arm gives back into the community. So kudos to the Twisted Arm for doing that. So again, this Saturday, April the 20th, Zed, a Led Zeppelin tribute, an amazing Led Zeppelin tribute. Get down and check that out. All righty. Well, lots of things. I've really been looking forward to this week here on the show. As I said, we always have some amazing people join us here, and I think you're really going to appreciate the guests that we're going to have here today. And you know, we see a lot of changes happening in our governments, and of course, things don't always quite go the way we want them to, right? And we're seeing more and more, probably a lot to do with social media, having access to information, people speaking up more and more about what they don't like about what's maybe happening. And my first guest, Shirley Roebuck, is here in the lobby, and she is all set and ready to go. Hello, Shirley. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me. I appreciate this time.
I know that you got through the technical side of this, so you made it through.
Yes, barely, by the skin of my neck. God.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
You are with the Sarnia Lambton Health Coalition, and tell everybody just a little bit who you are and give some background on just what that is.
Okay. The Sarnia Health Coalition is affiliated with the Ontario Health Coalition, and both groups are nonprofit, nonpartisan, community activist groups. Our one mandate is to protect and enhance local healthcare services. And that's why we're upset with our new government's Bill 74, which is at final reading in the legislature now.
Right. And what is that exactly? There's cutbacks. We hear the word cutbacks happening a lot lately, but I think when we hear that word, people go, oh, they're just taking everything away. But there's a lot of specifics going on there. So maybe you can explain a little more what that bill is.
Yes. There have been sweeping powers given to the provincial cabinet of Mr. Ford, as well as the health minister, Ms. Elliott. The powers include the fact that they can close hospitals, they can close services, they can change public services to for-profit services. They can accept proposals from for-profit healthcare providers to provide a service in one area. Mega mergers will be allowed. Amalgamations and implementation of services will take place. What those words really mean remain vague.
Yeah.
The problem is that all of these ideas are going to be administered by a super agency in Toronto, which is not an elected organization. They're political appointees. They will tell local Ontario health teams, that's what the government has named these new organizations, they'll give them the directives about what to provide. Now, a team sort of seems like it's a bunch of people working together for the betterment of the community, right?
Would think so.
Except, there's going to be for-profit agencies in these teams, which means that there's going to be, I think, a lot of confusion and a lot of disagreements over what is best for the community.
Right.
So the LIN system will be gone. They're going to be replaced by 20 to 30 Ontario health teams, which are appointed, not elected. They will report upwards to the super agency, which reports upward to the Minister of Health. We feel that we're going to be seeing mega mergers because this government and the government before and the government before that has been trying to merge hospitals in an effort to be more cost effective. I don't think that we've saved many dollars doing all of this for 25 years.
Right. How do we...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I thought you were done. You finished, and then I'll ask you some questions.
Well, I just... the area that has to be a proposal to supply a healthcare service has to be an area of 300,000 people. Right. Well, there's not 300 in Sarnia Lambton, 300,000 in Sarnia Lambton, nor is there in Chatham, Kent, nor is there in Windsor, Essex. But I'm wondering if Windsor might want to take over hospital care and supervise all the hospital care from Windsor. And if you're a business person and you're looking at your Excel spreadsheets and you see a little hospital like Petroleus Hospital or in Wallaceburg, I mean, they'll be the first to be cut. We believe in keeping all little hospitals, medium hospitals, and large hospitals open because hospitals do good work. We believe that long-term care should be administered by municipalities rather than for-profit businesses. And another proposal that might be put forward to the super agency is one for-profit long-term care provider might want to provide long-term care in an entire region. And where would you build your new long-term care homes? I think where you could get a lot of employees and where there would be a lot more business, which means cities, which means people will be traveling to see their loved ones. Okay, I'll get off the soapbox now, whatever you need
No. That's why we're here to talk about that. And it's, I mean, as somebody who asked the questions, I mean, I do a little bit of research, of course, but I always appreciate it when you're the expert on this. So from an outside looking in, I'm not involved in your world, obviously, so you're more familiar with some things. But as someone who uses the health services, I guess if we look at it that way, mental health is a good example. We see more and more need for that, yes. More financing. And people who watch the show regularly are going to be laughing. Oh, here he goes again on that mental. It comes up all the time, even without it being a topic, right? And everybody has a need health-wise at some point. I think most of us probably don't have a health need or an interest, I guess, until all of a sudden something happens to us that
Yes.
we need services.
Mm-hmm.
The Lynn's a really good example, because I'm very familiar with the Lynn because I'm involved with Age Friendly Sarnia, and so we're kind of aware of what was coming there, or until everybody really knew. But there's a lot of services there. My father being one of them. That's another reason why I'm familiar. That people really rely on. And now, are a lot of these services going to get put on hold or delayed because of all these changes that are happening? I mean, obviously the negative effect is there, but this really kind of puts an anchor into a lot of things.
Yes. Well, number one, I can't tell you with 100% assurity, but I believe, and the Ontario Health Coalition believes, that a lot of smaller services that really serve the public will be negated, be gone, simply because money has to be saved, and it doesn't appear to be coming from firing CEOs or putting a cap on administrative salaries. In Windsor, they're laying off 90 housekeepers. Well, anybody that works in healthcare will tell you none of us can do our work until that place is very, very clean. So laying off housekeepers means you increase the amount of work that has to be done, which means it has to be done faster. You mentioned mental health. Mr. Ford has already cut the promised funding for mental health from the Liberals. This is something that every community needs drastically. Our jails have people that really require help and not incarceration. It's remains almost impossible to get fast detox and entry into addiction programs in this area.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy. I mean, I don't use that word lightly, but our folks, our community members, need all sorts of healthcare services, and we need them to be delivered locally and for the people, not for profit.
Yeah. What happens to the people, or what's the, I mean, I think there's probably an obvious thought of the effect of all of this, but what happens when these things go away? How do our communities, like if you say, like if we were to see Petrolia, like Petrolia and Wallaceburg are two great examples of small hospitals. I mean, we see, Blue Water Health here, they do a fantastic job as far as I'm concerned. We have a lot of great services here. They work really hard at keeping things going. But again, there's only so much that can be done. And Petrolia, that rural community really relies on that service. Wallaceburg, I just drove by it the other day. My grandmother used to work there. And it's still there. And I said to my son when we drove by, I said, your grandma used to work there. And he goes, oh, wow, it's still there, right? That's fantastic. I said, well, let's have that conversation. And we kind of talked about it. I said, well, what if it weren't there? There's so many people, especially elderly. I mean, they already rely on many services just to stay connected to the community, aside from just what their needs are medically.
Well, I believe the Ministry of Health would tell you that the services that exist now will be administered by other entities, whether they be for profit or not. And, my organization is non-partisan, but I'll tell you, I haven't seen one government that hasn't tried to reorganize and make more efficient the healthcare system, usually with bad results. Mr. Harris, some years ago, wanted to save $1.8 million and ended up spending $3.9 billion. Sorry. Like, what is this? And, I just want to make the point that, this may seem as if, what can we possibly do? We elected this government. We have to sort of live with what they have decided to do. We need to tell our elected officials that we don't approve of this plan. And to that end, the Sarnia Lambton Health Coalition is sending a bus to the Ontario Health Coalition Rally for Public Health Care on April 30th. The bus is paid for. This is a free trip for all. We will be supplying a late lunch. We will be, I can give you all of the details later, but if anyone wants information or if they'd like to reserve a seat on this bus, please call me. 226
call you?
Yeah, 226-402-2724.
So 226-402-2724.
That's me.
All right, we'll put that up on the screen right now. So for those of you just joining us, the Sarnia Health Coalition is having a rally coming up. And what's the date again?
April 30th.
April 30th. And this is free for people to go to. And
free for everyone.
We're going to go down to Ottawa. And
No, to Toronto.
Or Toronto, sorry. We're going to go down to Toronto. And what takes place in all of that?
Well, we are partnering with healthcare unions. The unions will be marching up University Avenue, and they'll be having mini rallies. Mini rallies.
I'm pretty excited about all this too.
And the community members, which is my group, they'll be at Queen's Park. We will all join together, and we will be having guest speakers about healthcare and asking our elected officials to come out and speak to us. Certainly, we will be honored to have Mr. Ford and Ms. Elliott come out. I do believe that Ms. Horvath will come, as well as numerous other politicians. We'll also be having healthcare advocates speak. That will take about an hour, and then we will get right back on the bus and hopefully get out of Toronto by 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm told that's because we want to miss rush hour. I don't think there is a rush hour in Toronto anymore, but that's just me. And so we should be home by 5 p.m.
How do we, when we take a look at this, how do we prioritize? I mean, like we kind of go back to mental health, like cutbacks. I mean, we can't do everything, I guess.
That's right.
But I guess that's really a part of the process. And I guess part of the concern here too is that who makes these decisions on, I mean, my issue is my issue. So of course I think my issue should come first, of course, but it can't always be that way. So how do we prioritize this?
I think it's a matter of realizing that everyone in this province, no matter where they live, needs a variety of basic health care services provided locally.
Right.
And that, there's not any money to be saved by merging hospitals or closing services or amalgamating services. So I'll tell you that my personal opinion is this. It seems to me that the government is taking one hard look at our social programs, the programs that protect the weak and the frail and the young and the elderly. And I think that is entirely the wrong way for Ontario to go. The priority should be that we provide for those people. Mahatma Gandhi once said that a society will be remembered by how it treats its weakest members. Well, we're on the wrong track.
Yeah. And he was a clever man.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Well, we'll keep sharing this information. Once again, if you want to find out more about this, you can contact Shirley, or if you want to get on the bus for April 30th, there's a number on the screen to call. And Shirley, you want to send me some of the links and anything else?
Excellent.
We'll post this after the show on our Facebook page as well. I thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to add in there before I let you go?
If you can't get on the bus, call your MPP. Tell him that you don't like the secrecy or the lack of transparency about this bill. Tell him you want public meetings. The government, who was elected by us, needs to meet with the people and tell them about this bill.
And let's hold them accountable, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Shirley, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you come back and give me an update after this all happens. We'll either have you back on here or you can just let me know what happened. I'll be sure to let all the viewers know.
Okay. Do you want to come on the bus, Dave?
You know what? I may. I haven't looked at my calendar yet. If I'm available and my wife doesn't have me scheduled somewhere else, I'd be there.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome back anytime. Thanks, Shirley.
Bye-bye.
All right, Shirley Roebuck joining us here with the Sarnia Health Coalition. Some great concerns happening there. Health care cutbacks. She mentioned the LIN in there, Lambton Health Services Network. There's a lot of things happening here. A lot of things that we've come to rely on. And yeah, things cost money. But as we talked about there too, Shirley mentioned, how to prioritize things. Wouldn't be an easy task, but is the government going in the right direction? Well, once again, they're having a bus on April 30th. If you'd like to get a hold of Shirley, there's a number on the screen, 226-402-2724, and she's going to give us an update. And again, for those of you who are watching the show, whether live or if you happen to catch the replay, check in the comments below. We will be posting all this information about our guests and how you can find out more with links after the show in the comments section. All right, well, let's move on. Sarnia Lambton Rebound. They've always got some things going on there as well. And I'm happy to have this guest on here because she's never been on the show before. My friend, Anita Minielly. How are you, Anita?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
Fantastic. I haven't really connected with you in a long time. Like, this is as close as face-to-face we've seen each other in a while.
Yes. Nice to see you.
You as well. And congratulations. You're the new fund development and marketing coordinator. Did I say that right?
That's right. Here, Rebounds. I'm excited to be here. It's only been a short 4 months, but it's such a wonderful organization. And this year we're celebrating 35 years in the community.
Wow. So, that's and Sarnia Lambton Rebound has done so much for the youth in our community and families, quite honestly, in our community. And it really started with just a few people having an idea and putting it together.
They did, yes. 3 wonderful people. And thanks to them, we've been able to help over 40,000 youth over the 35 years. So that's something to be proud of. And we continue to help a lot of youth with the 19 different programs that we have. So if someone... And one of the stigmas, Dave, I think that Rebound needs to overcome is that you need to be a youth in trouble or have gotten in trouble, got caught. Really, it's just, we've all made a bad decision and they just maybe have got caught. So exactly, me as well. So
yeah. And you're absolutely right. And folks that I've gotten to know in the past have said the same thing. There really is that stigma that, you go to Rebound, you must have gotten in trouble, or the cops must have sent you there instead of sending you to jail, or whatever.
Right.
That's right?
Yes.
And I agree. We got to get over that stigma. You mentioned 19 different programs. I know we only have 15 minutes, but can you mention a few of them that are really dominant there?
Absolutely. We have the different Choices programs, Choices Junior, Choices Senior. We have Spectrum, which is for the LGBTQ youth that are questioning, having some struggles.
Yeah.
So there's great support here. We have the Hub, which is for youth that are in transition, maybe doing some couch surfing or just need some guidance with their life. So the Hub is for youth 18 to 24. We have our Act 2, which is more of the theatrical portion of the program. So there's quite a variety, a little something for every youth.
Yeah. I like of course, I'm partial to the Act 2 coming from the entertainment world myself, but it's been fantastic programs for so many.
It is.
Rebound Rocks.
That's another great one. Yes.
Rocking and rolling. And I remember last year when that started, and I came in to see the open house of it. And I looked up on the stage, and there was 3 or 4 youth jamming it out together.
Mm-hmm.
I got talking with somebody, and they said, you know what? Those 4 youth have never even met each other. They just walked in and
Wow.
so it really shows the power of these programs that and the impact that Rebound's having. In fact, I think a lot of times you have former, I guess, alumni fighting back into Rebound to work there.
Absolutely, they do. They want to give back, and because they've had such success, so they want to give back to the youth. That just to show how grateful they are for the programs and what they've learned. So yeah, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without the wonderful volunteers that come in and give every week of their time to help the youth. So thank you to them.
For sure. Well, you've got a lot you've taken on here with this job. You're going to be busy, that's for sure.
It is. It's exciting. It's exciting though. We've got some things coming down the tube that we're changing it up a little bit. We're not doing the Dirty Dash this year. We're stepping back and taking a bit of a break. Yes.
Well, let's get to that, but first there's something else coming up before
our playhouses. Yes. So
home away from home, is that right?
Home away from home. Yes, our Playhouse Lottery raffle. So we've partnered with the Carpenters Union, Local 1256, and they have built 5 really cool playhouses. They're all different, and they will be on display at Lambton Mall as of next Tuesday, so after the Easter weekend. And so how it works is people can buy a ticket for $10, and then they get to put it in a ballot box of whichever house they would prefer to win. And then the draw will take place at the mall on May the 4th.
And these are I want to call them like giant playhouses.
They are. They're like 8 by 10 roughly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I want one. I saw them last year. I thought I want one, but I mean, I wouldn't fit in it, but or at least you wouldn't get me out of it if I did get in. But anyway,
but they're all really neat. There's been some apprentices at Lambton College that helped build them as well with the carpenters there. So yeah.
The Carpenters Union, another great partner in the community, many different ways. But you mentioned college students getting involved. This really is a collaboration. A lot of times with all the different programs that you have going on and the support that you get from the community members and partners. Absolutely. We wouldn't do anything. The Carpenters have been so generous and continue to do so, not only to us, but as you say, other community partners. But they didn't blink an eye when we asked them if they would partner again with us this year. They quickly put the designs into place, and they've just been sitting at their workshop waiting until we can get them delivered next Tuesday. And we want to mention Lambton Mall as well, because they're a big supporter of a lot of different groups here, because they provide space for you to do this. They're amazing to work with. Yes. So Alexandra and her crew over there, they'll take good care of us with getting them in and out and set up. And they're allowing us that a couple weeks in there to sell the tickets. And they'll be selling the tickets for us too, if anybody is out at the mall, at the kiosk there, which is down by Mark's Work Warehouse and Toys R Us. So they can purchase the tickets there for cash. Fantastic. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll be sure to post that after the show as well. We've got the poster there. Thank you. I'm sure lots of, coming around just after Easter, what a good time to get that all out there as well. Okay. I have to say this. I'm a little bummed out, as I'm sure some are, that the Dirty Dash is not happening. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm not the first one to say that to you. No, not. But do we? I know you can't commit, but we may be going to see it back sometime. That's what we're going to revisit it in 2020 to see what changes we can make. And the reason that we've stepped back this year, Dave, is the attendance over the last couple of years. Although I didn't participate, I was told that it had been dwindling a bit. So they just decided, we decided as a board and as a committee here that we would just step us back this year and try something new. Okay. And so we're going to give this handbag fundraiser a go. So we've got Hearts Handbags that's coming up on June the 6th.
And tickets will be $50. I should mention tickets for both you can buy on our website. Again, something new that we're trying this year. So tickets for the playhouses, they can go online and purchase them. And then we'll mail the hard copies out to them. They can choose which houses they want. And for the handbags, they can purchase the ticket, and then we'll have the tickets waiting for them at the registration table that night, or they can pick them up in advance.
Okay, so this is an auction, like how does this work? This is all online, or what's happening?
No, it'll happen at the Holiday Inn, and we're going to have there'll be roughly 5 or 6 live auction. So there'll be designer handbags, and then we'll have a silent auction as well. And we're hoping roughly around 50 purses. And we want to make it so that we have different price points so that everybody can be bidding on the items. But it'll be live and silent auction. And for the live auction, we'll probably throw in some different experiences as well. We're working on that.
Ah, okay.
So not just handbags, but some different experiences for the ladies to bid on. Okay.
And is there entertainment or food, or is there anything else happening with this?
There will be food. So with your ticket, you get there'll be a glass of champagne and some hors d'oeuvres, and we'll have a candy buffet. And then we've got a DJ lined up. So Fabian Jagoo is coming in to rock some tunes.
Oh, Fabian Jagoo, heck!
It'll be fun. He's super pumped about it. And so we're really wanting to make it, again, just kind of a really fun girls' night out. If you want to come out and bid on some purses, you can. If you don't, then that's fun too. So,
yeah, just to come out and support and socialize. And I think usually if you have champagne or wine involved, that's good bribery to get some people there.
That's what we're hoping. Get a little bit of champagne in them to. But again, just the encouragement or the support to come out would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So. While I've got you here, I think it's fantastic that you're there. You're certainly, from what I've known of you over the years, a great choice for this job. So I'm sure you'll do quite well at it. But let's talk about what probably a lot of organizations come across, and some of the challenges that come along with reaching out to the community. I mean, it has been great community support. But money is always the big thing. Does Rebound get funding from the government at all, or because I know some places do, some don't? How does that all come together as one for Rebound?
For sure, we do get some government funding, but annually, Rebound, we need to raise about $350,000 every year just to keep the programs going. So that's why these events are so. They're needed, that we do these fundraisers. So people coming out, and we do have some sponsorship opportunities available for the handbag. So if anybody's listening and would like to maybe make a donation and get a tax receipt, that would certainly help out this particular fundraiser as well. But yes, our biggest fundraiser though is the gala that happens in February, which is the Hearts for Youth. And, we were grateful this year. We had so many amazing supporters, sponsors, that we raised over $70,000. So
that's fantastic.
Yes. Now we are also United Way funded as well. So we're fortunate for that.
And that's kind of where I was leading to, is I want people to understand, because I think sometimes when we have these conversations and people are watching, the government's good. The government doesn't do everything, folks, as we heard with our previous guests, and we're going to talk about with our upcoming guests, actually. And I think that's why I don't think it is important that we can't give to everywhere, obviously, but we need to support what we can. And $350,000 might not seem like a lot of money, but it is a ton load of money to people who rely on these services with Sarnia Lambton Rebound.
That's for sure. So thank you to the community for that, and for continually coming out and supporting us. And but we've always needed. So I hope that they find that the playhouses and the handbags are something that they can get behind and support. A lot of work goes into it, as every fundraiser will tell you. And it's a lot of fun too. This is a great agency, and they've been around for 35 years for a reason. So
that's right. Well, you're fitting in well from what I hear over there so far. So
good. Whew.
Thank you so much, Anita, and keep in touch with me. Let me know about this stuff. If it isn't always an interview, happy to put this stuff out. And if
awesome.
I can't make the announcements at the Dirty Dash this year, but if I can help you out with anything else, I'm open to that for sure. I'll do it.
Okay, you'll be the first one that we call when we decide that we do it in 2020. So if we
Okay.
go that route. All right.
That's awesome. Anything else you want to throw out there before I let you go?
I think that's about it. We've covered a lot. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Anita, you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care. All right, there's Anita Minielly from Sarnia Lambton Rebound. Hearts and Handbags will replace the Dirty Dash for this year anyway. There may be a little bit of a tease of coming back for 2020. I hope so. A lot of fun and a lot of money raised there. The Carpenters Union, again, huge supporters of Sarnia Lambton Rebound and the home away from home with the houses that they're making. Fantastic to see community support there. Once again, we will be posting all this information after the show is over, so stay tuned for that. All right. Well, moving forward and coming up next, we talked earlier with Shirley about speaking up against our government when we don't like things, and this is an example of that coming up. We saw a few weeks ago that the students in Ontario not happy with some more government cutbacks from Ford Nation, and we've got a couple of our guests here in the lobby, and I think we're ready to go. Hello there.
Hi.
Hi. We've got Cassandra Lubiana and Julia. Julia, how do you say your last name?
Cremonese.
Cremonese. See, that's why I asked. I wanted to get it right. Thank you both so much for joining here. And we could probably do a whole hour show on what we're going to talk about here. And we'll give you as much time as we can. But both of you just want to start with who you are, where you're from.
Okay, so I'm Cassandra. We both go to St. Joan of Arc Catholic High School in Maple, Ontario, and we're grade 12 students. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you reached out to me and several others in the, I guess, the media community with a video that you're sending out, and we'll play that at the end of the interview here. But let's talk about this protest. What was the exact date that it all happened again?
April 4th. Yeah, and all schools walked out at 1:15. Our school went a bit earlier, though, because we had another event the same day, so we did it at 9:40 instead. But yeah, it was all on April 4th, all the schools across Ontario.
So this really, it kind of said to the government, hello, we're here. Even though we're not old enough to vote, we have a say. Is that kind of what the message was?
Yeah. Yeah, we wanted to get our voices heard because a lot of us in the school community too, like even in just our school, we were talking about it and like so many people wanted to do something. So we just decided to put together a protest for our school. Yeah. Yeah.
And then this just went viral because I know even here in Sarnia, Northern High School was out, and it just kind of, did you expect this much of a response?
Yeah, for 100%. We know for like online, at least on Instagram, the people who started it all, they were encouraging different schools from all across Ontario to make accounts and to encourage their own school to walk out at that time. So then seeing all that online, like from everyone's reactions online, seeing all the support from all across Ontario, all these students, we 100% expected that reaction that we got, and seeing all those students walk out at the same time. It was like
amazing.
It was miraculous.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about the word protest for just a moment, because I know back in my day, and that was a few years ago, we didn't like, I don't know, the uniform, or there was something we didn't like, and we would do that. But not everybody really knew why we were doing it. Sometimes it was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm in because I just want to get out of school that day or something. But it seemed like, at least the way the media put it out there, and the social media that I've been reading, it really seemed like, obviously not everybody, but a lot of people were really informed and understanding. The students were really knowing what was going on, right?
Yeah, even at our school, we went and we talked to a bunch of classes too, because not a lot of the students at our school knew why we were walking out. So we went around, our team went around, and we were just talking to classes. We were asking them, do you know why we're doing the walkout? And if they didn't know, we just kind of explained briefly like why we wanted to do it, why it was so important to us, and why it was like so critical that we actually say something. instead of just like being silent about it.
And then by the time the protest date came around, mostly I would say 98% knew, everyone who was there knew why we were protesting, and they all were on the same page that we need to make a change.
Right. So you two are the ones that brought this together and said, we want to do this, or there's others involved, or how did this begin?
So there's an actual like account on Instagram, the Students Say No account, and they started it. It's a group of students, I think, from all different schools across Ontario, and then they recruited like a lead organizer from every school, or as many schools as could join. They recruited people to protest at their own schools and organize the event at their own schools. Yeah.
I can honestly say it's proud to see social media being used in a positive way, because I think it gets accused a lot of being negative, or young folks like yourself in your generation accused of not being close to enough to politics. You really kind of proved that all wrong in all of this, right? You know, you do care. Where does for the two of you anyway, where does your caring about your government and what they do come from? Is this a mom and dad influence, or where's that?
I don't know. I guess, yeah, my parents, we always have the news on, so I always know what's happening. Yeah, I heard what was happening, and I was like, no, it's not okay.
For me, when I want to grow up, I want to, in the future, either become a lawyer or a politician. So for me, I'm very interested in this stuff, especially I'm someone, I can say the same for both of us, is that we're both people who are very morally right. We want to do the right thing. We will stand up for people who are in trouble. And when we see something like this that puts people at a disadvantage, we stay in tune of what's going on, and we want to make that change. And we do whatever we can to make that happen.
Just by the conversation and the words you're using there, it shows both of you your maturity and your beliefs and your integrity and all that's going on in there. And I think that's you're representing all the other students very well by being here today. And this isn't over yet. Obviously, this fight has just begun. Can you go into some specifics of what exactly are they cutting back, or what are they doing that it is you're opposed to?
Okay, so to start, the arts programs, if we're going to see a lot of cuts to the arts programs. I took art all 4 years of high school. I'm an art student. So when I heard that, I was just like astonished, because for me, that was like something I always turn to, because I'm not like so great at math or science, but art is my strong suit. And so to hear that, I was just like, it was very offensive. It's saying like art isn't important. And especially with teenagers, it's like critical for our mental health. And it just like helps us develop as people. So when I heard about that, I just thought that was like ridiculous. You can't cut the arts funding, because that's like a career that a lot of people consider as well.
The other cuts to like education that they're making include that now high school students will be mandatory to take 4 e-learning credits. Then class sizes will be increased, which will reduce our one-on-one time with the teacher.
Yeah.
Then like and then a bunch of teacher jobs are supposed to get reduced as well, because class sizes are being increased. So then that will cause not to have enough teachers for clubs to run. And then also OSAP is being cut. So I know that
even for us, because we're graduating, it'll still affect us
as well. That time period, I think it's the 6-month time period after you get loans from OSAP. That first 6-month time period is going to be cut now. That you get like 6 months to pay off. Like you have a 6-month time after you're done your education to pay off your loans.
Free kind of thing.
Yes, you get that 6 month. That's not going to happen anymore. The sex education is getting reduced back to that of like the 1990s. Which is now it's not going to include any LGBTQ plus content, any content of consent, any content of bullying, or anything along those lines. And there are several more education cuts that are ridiculous.
Right. I don't know how much you were listening to when I was talking to my first guest, Shirley, and she was talking about the health. She's part of the Health Coalition, and she was talking about cutbacks and changes that are happening with the government that her group is not happy about for many reasons. there's a lot of similarities in this conversation and what we're talking about. The question I said to her, and I'll ask both of you as well, is sometimes we can't afford everything. Like, I mean, it's kind of like living in a house, right? You know, I want a second car, but it's not affordable to me right now because there's not enough money coming in to pay for that and the gas and the all that goes with it. So how do we prioritize that as to what comes first, and how do we make those decisions?
Well, we understand that the government is planning to make these cuts because we're in a deficit, what they have spoken about, and they want to get out of that. But what we don't understand is why
education.
Yeah, exactly. Why are we cutting education to get out of the deficit when we are the future of our country? If we don't put our resources towards education, we're not shaping the minds of the future. We could go. There's other things that he's putting resources into,
like the horse races,
horse racing, redesigning our logo.
Yeah,
and we think that the priorities are not set straight, and that we should understand what's most important and to decide what we should prioritize, and then to put the maximum resources and funding into those priorities.
Right. So can you give an example? Like you mentioned the horse racing. Could you give another example of what you're seeing is like, well, there's spending money over there, but we don't really need that. Why don't we cut that? Like there's other things. Have you looked at this and said, why
definitely
put that over here? What else would there be?
Well, we saw this news article. Julie actually has it here that says, court documents show Ford's team wanted a custom-made van with a leather sofa, mini fridge, and a Blu-ray player. And the total cost is $50,000. So that's money that's being taken from like education funds. And we think that that's like so selfish. Sorry,
what was that for again?
It's for a custom-made van with a leather sofa, mini fridge, and Blu-ray player. Yeah, so we saw that. And we saw that he was putting money towards the horse races, also redesigning Ontario's logo. There's tons of money being put into that. And we just think it's absolutely ridiculous that it's not being put into education when like we are the people that will be running the country. We are the people who are going to be shaping the future. And our future is being tampered with because of the horse races and redesigning the logo. And we don't think that that's right in any way. We just think it's kind of ridiculous.
It makes good logical sense. That's for sure. Sorry, how old are you?
I'm 18.
And I'm 17.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in the same grade.
So you're ready. You're already voting and you're waiting to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that the age to vote should be lower than 18?
Absolutely. I think we should make it 16. If you're allowed to drive at that age, I think you should be allowed to vote too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think we should have a say in what happens to our education. I
think there's many that would agree with you. And I think if I was a politician, I'd be concerned that you're upset with me right now because you're next to vote and you're already voting, right? So there's a lot of that out there. What about, do you feel like your message, obviously, wow, everybody who was in the news was talking about what you guys were doing. Have you got any kind of response from the government yet?
Well, we've actually contacted the NDP government because we know that they're strongly on our side. So we've contacted the NDP government personally, and they've sent us their own statement of what they say in agreement to us, which I think goes in accordance to what they posted as well, the video that Andrea posted. Mm-hmm. And then we have tried to contact the Conservative government, the Doug Ford's party, but we've gotten no response from them.
Yeah, and we're encouraging all our fellow students to send emails and letters and to go and sign the petition. We're trying to get some recognition from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I feel like right now they're just avoiding all of this. Because what he said that we're just pawns of the teachers and of the unions. Yeah. So I think he needs to realize that.
I like how you put that at the beginning of this video, and I'm going to play that now. So stay with me. We're going to play the video, and then one of the great things about being the last guest on the show is you can go as long as you want. So stay with me, ladies. We're going to play this video that was sent to me and sent to all the media. This is their protest video. Pay particularly close attention to the beginning of this video. Take a look.
This isn't about class sizes, I'll tell you. This is about the union bosses telling the teachers and the students what to do.
Protests a common theme today in Ontario. Students from more than 700 schools.
I'd say 1,000 students were out here protesting
all week long. Our inboxes at City News have been just filled with emails from student organizers telling us that their school will be taking part in the walkouts.
Some 100,000 students planning to take part in the Students Say No movement against the Ford government's education changes, and there are many.
Kids are not being used as pawns in the debate over education. Kids are organizing. Kids are organizing.
We are the students and we say no! We are the students and we say no! We are the students and we say no! Students say no! We are the students and we say no! We are the students and we say no! Students say what? Students say no! The students and we say no! We are the students and we say no! We are the students and we say no! We are the students and we say no! 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 We say no!
I hope that they realize that we will be able to vote next term, and we do have the power to vote them out.
Do you think Freddie Mercury'd be proud of you?
We hope so.
At the beginning, well put together, by the way. Obviously, you couldn't put everybody in there, but they were sending you a video. Over 700 schools organized to walk out in this protest. And at the very beginning, Doug Ford says this is the union bosses telling the teachers and the students what to do. Is that pretty much? How did you feel about that when you first heard that?
Oh, that was very offensive to us because we put a lot of effort and a lot of work into organizing this. And to hear that, it's like we don't even get the recognition that we deserve for it. And it's like he's saying that as young people, as teenagers, we're not able to put together something like this on our own without teachers like holding our hands.
Right. Do you think that's what he meant by it, or do you think maybe he thought this was some kind of political ploy to put you out there first, or you just? I mean, either way, you know, it's not giving you any recognition for what you did, but because now we see some teachers are kind of backing this up as well, too, right?
I think 100%. I think it was a little bit of both. The 100% was also, he probably thought it was a political ploy of them getting, because they know that if students, they're like the massive student outweighs the massive teachers and massive unions. Like there are a much bigger population of students. So they probably, he probably thinks, oh, the union had told them to do, students will get much more of an attraction of that. But 100%, he probably also thought that, like, giving discredit to us as well, that we wouldn't be capable of that big of a revolution against this.
Yeah. If you could sit down one-on-one with Doug Ford in a professional setting, what would you say to him?
I would say it's unacceptable to cut funds to education because, like, we are the people who are going to be running the future, as I said before, and to not fund our education as it was funded before, to cut to the arts programs, for example, like I want to get into art in the future, art and English, that's my path. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have the outlet that I did throughout high school. And so I don't think it's fair. I also don't think I think it's very ignorant to cut funds to certain programs and to go back to the basics in math and cut exploratory learning that won't allow students to, it won't allow students to like experience learning the way that we always have. And I don't think it's fair to the students who are younger than us. I don't think it's fair to their futures.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would say, okay, so, but we have to do this and this and this and this, and there's a process to making all these changes. Mm-hmm. I guess, like, do you guys have something prepared that you already have prepared, or you're putting together to if you had the opportunity to present, do you have that all put together?
That's something we're definitely will be working on. But one of the things we'll 100% make sure to include is that we understand what he's doing. We understand that we're like I mentioned before, we understand that we're in a deficit and he's trying to get us out, because we need to get out of that loss. We're trying to get that back. Why we're doing that to cut to education, why we're getting out of this deficit by cutting education, that's what we don't understand. We should be cutting other things that aren't necessary. Whereas education, like you stated, it's our future. That's the future of our country. We shouldn't be putting our country at risk and ruining the outlets of students through art, through teaching our students about consent, through giving them that 101 teacher time. We shouldn't be doing that. We could get out of the deficit in many other ways, I'm sure, and we'll look into, and we'll create a letter.
Mm-hmm. We have been writing letters already. A bunch of students from our schools have written letters. We have a petition being signed with all of the schools in Ontario. There's like an online petition that all the schools are signing, and we're encouraging students at our schools to go and sign it as well.
Right. Well, I think that's important, because I think a lot of people would say to you, okay, well, like life's unfair sometimes, right? Life sucks once in a while. Protest, but be prepared to offer a solution, or at least make a strong attempt at it to help resolve the issues, whatever that issue is. And here it's the cutbacks that you're talking about, right? So congratulations to both of you and everybody else that you've gotten involved. And I would welcome you, Cassandra. I think it's you and I are connected on Facebook now. So yeah. Send me messages anytime and keep me up to date as to what's going on. And if you want to come back sometime and follow up, very happy to do that. And send me the links to the petition, etc. And we'll post that on our Facebook page after the show as well, so we can get you some more attention there.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else you want to, I always ask my guests, anything else you want to say before I let you go?
Well, we just want to remind, if there's anyone watching, just to sign that petition and to not give up on this fight for our education.
Yeah, and even if you're not a student and you think it's not okay for us to be affected by this, we encourage even like adults to go and sign it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and when you guys are running for political office, I'll be sure to remember this conversation.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you both so much. I appreciate your time here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome anytime. All right, Cassandra and Julia joining us here, talking about the protest, the student protest that happened on April the 4th. Wow, shook up the world, really. It wasn't just talked about here in Canada. It was talked about all over. And I guess, like, they have every right to speak up to their governments. That's part of what our process in this country is about. And it's nice to see our young folks stepping forward and putting their foot down and saying, no, that's not okay, and I do have a say. No, that's not okay, and I do have a say. There you go. That's your next chant. And congratulations to them for putting the video together and organizing. The power of social media, as I said to these two ladies, used in a positive way to express themselves and how they feel in a place where they live. So congratulations to them and all the students together. Wow. And we went overtime. It's supposed to be an hour, but like I said, the advantage of being the last guest is you can go longer than everybody else. So that's good. I want to say thank you to all of my guests. Shirley Roebuck, from the Sarnia Health Coalition. also inviting you to join them on their bus going down to Toronto on April the 30th, as they are also not happy with the government's health cutbacks. And again, we'll have her phone number and information to contact her if you want to join them on that. And then my friend Anita Minielly, who is now the Fund Development and Marketing Coordinator. That's a whole lot to say. Fund Development and Marketing Coordinator for Sarnia Lambton Rebound, with 19 services that they offer to the youth and families in our community. And they've got some special fundraisers coming up. And then, of course, Cassandra and Julia joining us here to talk about the student protest. We'll get the information out there on our Facebook after the show on how you can sign up about their petition and just find out more about what it is that they're talking about. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend. And I will see you next time right here on the show live. Bye for now.